Our next guest is running in a race for congressman. What's the district number, Jimmy?
I don't know.
Gosh, you're such an idiot sometimes. He's running against Dan Crenshaw, the one, the only outlaw politician, Jameson Ellis. Jameson, welcome to the show, my friend.
I know, I definitely appreciate you being on. So just to answer your question, it is Congressional District 2. Last thing I want to say just really quick is I'm a little disappointed I'm not there live because I was actually going to bring you a framed picture of AOC signed my big booty Latina.
No, I need that picture. I need as much AOC memorabilia as possible. I love her so much. I just think about her at night. I think about her in the morning. I think about her a lot, Jameson. But on a serious note, dude, you're running for freaking Congress against Dan Crenshaw, who is a military-industrial complex-owned puppet for the deep state and for the NWO. How do you beat a guy like that when he's so connected to all these terrible, evil people that are in power?
Well, I mean, the reality is I don't beat him. The people do. And I can tell you that this district is fed up. And I think we're seeing it all over Texas. We're seeing it all over the country, how disenfranchised the American people feel. These supposed representatives, they can't truly represent us because they're so dadgum disconnected. And so, you know, if whenever we win on March the 5th, it won't be because I'm so great. It's going to be because God had his hand on this race. And it's also going to be because the people are fed up.
Well, let's just ask nuts and bolts question. How much does Dan spend on his campaign?
2 years ago, whenever we first ran, he raised about between 9 and 10 million, and then he spent between 7 and 8.
Well, he probably spent all that money giving to his friends. Who knows? What do you think he spent all that money on?
I mean, I have no idea. I know some of it probably went to Pink Cilantro.
Yeah, exactly, Pink Cilantro, her company. Duh. That's where it goes. If anybody looks into it, you got to look into Pink Cilantro. This is all out in the open. But, I mean, he does raise all this money, and then somehow he spends it all, too, by giving it to these companies like Pink Cilantro. Okay, sorry to cut you off. Keep going. So he raised $8 million, spent like $7 million. So you don't know how much he's going to spend on this campaign, roughly?
Yeah, I mean, last time I actually checked his FEC reports, he was at roughly about $2 million, and I haven't checked it here recently. I think that he's struggling a little bit, but, hey, we all are. And so, but I also think it's a reflection of just how fed up, again, that people are. Being a conservative, we want conservatives in office that are going to represent us. If you're going to run in a conservative district and call yourself one, then you need to be one. And so, but here's the thing that I can tell you being out the polls, because we're in the middle of early voting right now. I'm not meeting hardly anybody that is supporting Dan. As a matter of fact, we've actually gone to a few businesses to put up 4x8 signs, the 4-foot-by-8 foot signs, and they're not even asking permission from some of these businesses. So we're actually going in and talking to them, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll go take it down. You put one of yours up." It's
wow.
Absolutely nuts.
So he's just they're. I mean, that's kind of scary. They're just putting up those signs like that. But hey, tell me this: when we talk about Dan Crenshaw. Like, for me, he made a 6-minute video, or maybe it was 10 minute, I forget how long it was, talking about how Delta wouldn't let his wife on because of her puppy or whatever. I'm saying that video went viral. Why hasn't he spoken up for all the January 6ers? Why hasn't he spoken up about the crisis at our border and actually done something about it? Why do you think Dan Crenshaw would make a 10-minute video about his wife not getting let on a Delta airplane instead of making a 10-minute video talking about why January 6ers are being thrown under the jail, giving max sentences for misdemeanor crimes?
Ironically enough, that video came out whenever I was in the middle of calling his ass out for refusing to debate me, for not showing up to a debate. I was at the Montgomery County Eagle Forum. I was on stage for 45 minutes just taking questions from the audience. And then I challenged him officially to a debate, and he just refused it. I spent about 3 weeks calling him out daily. And if you go look in his comments, it doesn't matter if it's on Facebook. Actually, on Facebook, he had a meet and greet that was supposed to take place last night, and it got canceled because on Facebook, on X, he gets ratioed all the time. Yeah. It's something different whenever it's happening on Facebook, and almost every single comment, I'll say 98% of the comments on his meet and greet said, "We're voting for Jameson. We're voting for Jameson."
Well, that's harder on Facebook because on Twitter, it's out in the open, but on Facebook, the only people that are getting his feed are people that liked it already, so it's hard to get a lot of hate on Facebook, so that's a really big red flag.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Now,
No pun intended, right?
Yeah, no pun intended. But this is my freaking interaction with Dan Crenshaw, and this is why he won't debate, because he's a hothead. Now watch this video and watch him lose his cool. Have it on tape. See, this guy's still lying. I bet McCain is out here still lying. You're so full of it, dude. That's why you're gonna lose, dude. I know you don't know. You don't think that. It's gonna happen, guys. This guy's a traitor.
Are you an adult?
You're a globalist. Yeah, I'm an adult calling you out. You lost your eye for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, and you don't even call it out. Weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, bud. You know that. Let me hear you say something about that. Well, and we talk about that. Oh, that's it. He's trying to grab my thing. Look, you're too slow. He's too slow, Navy SEAL. It's funny, Dan, how you said you're tall. Yeah, I'm small, but I'm so much taller than you, Dan. I'm so much bigger than you. You're just a little sad little boy.
This is the guy who tells veterans that their service was wasted.
Yeah, because those are weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. I'm anti-war. Yeah. I'm anti-war because I don't believe. Did you guys find any weapons of mass destruction?
As a matter of fact, we did.
Oh, yeah, right. What weapons of mass destruction?
You're actually going to go down this route, Alex.
Yeah, because we don't have any weapons of mass destruction.
You're looking like a fool right now.
You're
telling
veterans,
veterans,
the one that's giving more money to Ukraine.
We
have homelessness. We have so many issues here in America. He cares more about Ukraine. Yeah,
You're disgusting.
You guys' service was wasted.
You're disgusting.
For globalists and bankers.
You are the modern day version.
I'm the modern day version. You worry more about Ukraine than our border.
You are the modern day version.
He cares more about Ukraine than he does about America. So you're a globalist. Why don't you take care of America? You don't care. That's your problem, Dan. You don't care about America. You don't care about Texas. Look at our. Do you think there's an invasion? Is there an invasion on our border right now? Is there an invasion on our border right now? Yes, he says yes. So that's why he doesn't want to argue, because he gets hot and he gets hot and heavy really fast.
Well, it's the thing that's sad about that video is he talks about, how you're supposedly coming against veterans, but let's talk about some legislation really quick that he's actually voted for where he's legitimately coming against veterans, like the National Defense Authorization Act from just a couple of years ago. He voted yes on it whenever there was an amendment that was made to defund military vax mandates. And it was voted down, and he still voted yes on the bill with those military vax mandates in there. Or
he
let's
didn't
talk
care.
about.
I know. I'm just saying he didn't care about the soldiers right then and there. I mean, he has no integrity. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's all right. So the red flag laws, right? So he voted for the FY22 National Defense Authorization Act when it had red flag laws slapped on veterans.
And tell the people why red flag laws are so bad, because your wife can say you're mad or you're crazy, and then they can just go into your house and search and take all your guns.
Yeah, you're basically convicted of a crime or before a crime's ever been committed. You're stripped of due process. So they take the guns, and then you have to prove your innocence. It's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent. And and this is something that he's been for. We come to find out ever since 2019. And me being a Second Amendment purist, when I read the Bill of Rights, they place restrictions on the government, not the citizen. And so that means the Second Amendment places a restriction on government, not the citizen. Those 4 words shall not be infringed. They either mean something or they don't mean anything. And so whenever you are talking to a 7th generation Texan like myself, who loves my guns, I grew up hunting. I have law enforcement in my family. I have military in my family. It's a spit in the face. And so if he's willing to do that with the Second Amendment, what other amendments is he willing to do that with?
All of them. He would love the First Amendment to be gone. He doesn't like free speech. Okay, we got a great super chat question. Jimmy, read it for Jameson.
Roosevelt Media News asks this. Jamie, do you support the right for Texans to vote on Texit?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, pretty awesome.
Would you like us to secede? I mean, everybody says that I am for Texas independence, but I mean, we'd be like one of the 27th most powerful country if we're our own country, something like that, or GDP.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I 100% support the right of Texans to vote on whether to secede or not. That being said, I am an American. I have grandparents. I have generations that came before me that have seen war. I have generations that have came before me that have risked their lives for this country. I love my country. Now, I love my state too. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think that we've done everything that we can possibly do to save our constitutional republic. And so I would like to fight for, which is why I'm part of Convention of States. I would like to fight for an Article 5 Convention of States, because that's the way that we can save this country. Texit to me is a last resort. I'm not for it, but I'm not against it. Right now, I'm kind of agnostic on it.
That's what I am. I like that, how you said that. I'm not for it, but I'm not against it. I like that, Jameson. That's really good.
But 100% Texans deserve the right to vote on it. And then let's see what the majority of Texans, let's see how they feel about it, you know, and I think that could be very telling in one direction or the other.
Okay, we got Brandon Buckingham here. Brandon, do you have any questions you want to ask our esteemed future politician?
Is there anything that the American public does not know about Dan Crenshaw that you'd like them to know?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's what I do.
Gosh, that's a good one.
Honestly, there's probably a little too much. And the reason why I say that is because uninformed voters, it seems to be a plague. You know, I've always said that if we lose our country, it won't be because of corruption in the government. It'll be because of complacency in the electorate. For far too long, we've been gaslit by the political class into forgetting one of the most paramount phrases taken directly out of our Declaration of Independence that says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And that's you, that's me, that's us, that's we the people. And I feel like there's a lot of people for decades that have forgotten that. We give power to the government as we the people see fit. But, you know, up until recently, it seems like people have said, well, what's the government going to do for me? Now, you know, what I'm seeing is a revival of people saying, wait a minute, it's government's the problem. They're not the solution. And it's up to us, we the people, to take that back. Now, back to the original question. There still are a lot of uninformed voters. They look at somebody like my opponent and they say, man, he's a Navy SEAL. He served this country with valor and with courage. The problem is that, so what? That was before he decided to run for office. I honor and respect his service as a Navy SEAL. I do not honor and respect the manner in which he has represented his district, including myself, because I'm not just an opponent, I'm a constituent. I do not appreciate the way that he's represented us in office.
Well, that's a great answer, but you know what he meant to say? He supposedly does stuff behind his wife's back. Allegedly, a little birdie says. That's what they say. Jameson can't vouch for that. But I just heard that on the radio, I think, when I was coming into work today. No, Dan Crenshaw has a lot of skeletons in his closet. But okay, so Jameson, before I let you go, tell the people how they can support you and how they can get involved in this race to help you beat this terrible globalist named Dan Crenshaw.
No, I definitely appreciate that. So there's a couple of things I would ask of people. Number one, go to firedancrenshaw.com. This is actually
everybody go to firedancrenshaw.com right now. Sorry, go there. We don't like Dan Crenshaw. Go to firedancrenshaw.com. Sorry to cut you off, Jameson. Keep going.
No, it's okay. This is a site that was brought to my attention here a couple of weeks ago. It's very well put together. Highly encourage people to share that, to read over it. There's proof of his votes. Like it's a phenomenal site.
George Santos had a more conservative voting record in Congress than Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, and he was ousted for it. So the second thing that I would ask is, we're up against establishment money. Now, most of my donors are all small dollar donors, and I'm not asking people to give the maximum, which is $3,300. Although if you want to give the maximum, absolutely, I'm not going to tell you no. But if everybody that's within earshot, everybody that's watching this show would go to JamesonEllis.com. It's Jameson, just like the whiskey, only I won't leave you with a hangover the next morning. But JamesonEllis.com. And click on the button that says donate. Give $5, give $10, give $20, or $3,300. But every little bit helps. And just because we're already in early voting doesn't mean that those donations go to waste. We still have a fight ahead of us. And March the 5th is primary voting day. And I also want to say that March the 5th is also the day that we finish in 2024 what we started 2 years ago in 2022. So I want to ask each and every person to join the fight, make a contribution, and let's fire Dan Crenshaw and hire Jameson.
Go to JamesonEllis.com, but also go to Fire Dan Crenshaw. A lot of good information there. You're going to really learn a lot about Dan. Okay, I mean, I want you to win. Obviously, we got your back. We're going to stay in touch. When does early voting end? It's from the 20th to the 24th. Does it end tomorrow or Thursday, or when does it end? I mean,
it actually ends on March the 1st.
Oh, so it's now until March 1st. Okay, good. Okay, so we got some time.
And then voting day is March 5th.
Well, you know what's funny about the last election? You can only say so much, but did you know that Donald Trump won all 50 states when it came to in-person voting, even California and New York? And Joe Biden won all 50 states when it came to mail-in ballots.
Whoa.
So that shows
that doesn't surprise me.
I know.
He also won the votes that were never cast in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. The dead people got to vote for him. So that's what I'm worried about. I hope that freaking Dan Crenshaw's not talking to the CIA to somehow rig those machines like they did to Kerry Lake or whoever, Trump. I mean, it's not a fair fight. You have a big battle ahead of you, Jameson. Anything that we can do to help, please don't be a stranger. And is there any last things you want to say before you go?
No, just I appreciate the opportunity, Alex, to be on your show. You seem to have a lot of fun, and you make me laugh a lot. And so I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on it. It's
thank
truly
you.
an
No, I
honor
hate
and a
when people are
privilege.
nice to me. Don't be nice to me. Only be mean to me, Jameson.
Okay, well, screw you then.
Thank you. That's what I like. Jameson, listen, you are a badass for going against this guy. Win, lose, or draw, you are. Don't let anybody fool you. Just getting in the fight says a lot. So you're a real, true badass in my book. So I'll talk to you soon, Jameson. Have a good one.
Thank you.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself